Good morning, Lafayette. I'm your meteorologist, Brian Burden, with your forecast for today on a glorious anniversary for myself and my beautiful, blushing, blue-eyed, blonde-haired bride. And we are excited to have our 37th anniversary of marriage today. It is exciting for us. Too bad that the cutting in of the noise kind of bothered or stopped my little soliloquy of such, so to speak, of what was going on today. Unfortunately for us, that is going to be happening. I don't mean unfortunately for us in the anniversary. Unfortunately for me, the noise popped in. Let me know that the audio was still working on our video and on our camera today. And from the microphone I have in front of me, been letting Gunner have the microphone at night so he can do some of his gaming, but he turns the gain way up and he switches some of the knobs, and there's been a lot of growling out of the noise the last couple days, so hopefully that is not there today. Hopefully things have smoothed over and we look pretty good, at least for most of the day today, right? Hopefully I'm not blaring into this thing and you're starting to hear a lot of scratchiness. Now, I am getting some scratchiness in my voice. I'm not sure what it is, if it's just changes of getting older, or if I've just kind of had a continuous something problem, sinus or whatever. But it does seem like I have a growl in my voice the last 6 months or so. So maybe some of you have noticed it, and I've also softened up a little bit in the last 6 months, which is hard for me to do, as many of you know. All right, let's get into some of the charts. What's going on today? What are we going to be looking at? I called it parting of the Red Seas, and I will get to that, but it just seems like something that happens to Lafayette a lot, and it's going to happen again here in the next couple of days. So let's take a look at the weather right now. Outside, it is currently I didn't even have it up there, 63 degrees. I was about to say 36. I have a little dyslexia going on at this moment, but it's 63 right now. Winds are out of the west-southwest, 8 miles an hour. Good direction for heat for us today, and sure enough, they're going for a high temperature of 81 today. We got up to 77 yesterday, 76 or 77. It's still, that means the model was pretty close yesterday. I was hoping we might pop an 80 there. I said we would get lucky if we would get one later in the day, but it didn't quite happen. Still was a glorious, beautiful day yesterday, and then we had some showers pop up last night, just as we expected to. And the same may be happening again tonight with the same weak frontal stationary boundary that's been wavering around Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio over the last couple of days. So it's been triggering a few showers at night in the evening hours, late in the day. And then some of them may be around us at times, some of them may not. I told you it would be hit and miss at times. It seems like we did get one of those showers yesterday, right about the time we were expecting it in the evening hours, and then things were good. Ray says, good morning. Good to see you this morning, Ray. Hopefully things are going good for you this morning. Nice to see Ray in there and everybody on tap. Let me drop my phone on the ground. And then leave it because I don't want to go down and pick it up. Sorry about that. I wanted to check out. What I do is I go ahead and I put the actual video on my camera so I can see that it's actually running and everything is good. And also the audio, but I forget about turning the audio down because for once it does the ringer and won't let me turn it down until it comes on. When it comes on, it's blaring sometimes, hence the scratches you heard in the noise just a little while ago. All right, so here we are right now. We're looking at the weather, and it looks warm again. Remember what I said yesterday? They would bump today up probably, and I would definitely bump today up. Now they're going for 81. Yesterday it was only 75. 80 again tomorrow. 71 on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All these temperatures above normal. The only one that's close will be Saturday morning at 47 and Sunday morning at 53. Normal highs or lows this time of the year should be right around 43 to 45. So by the end of the month of April, we're all the way up to 46. So this will be pretty close Saturday and Sunday. Otherwise, all the temperatures far above normal right now. I guess Monday morning too would be 50 degrees, would be pretty close to getting back to near normal for a temperature, but your highs are still above normal, as we should only be about 65 right now. Okay, so now we're talking 5. This isn't too bad. 70, 71 isn't bad, but these first couple days will be pretty warm. And don't be surprised if, like, Sunday we pop up and this goes up to like 75 on Sunday. Sunday right now is looking like a pretty decent day on tap for us. If we just look at the numbers, remember, this model takes just the numbers. It also doesn't give you the indication of rain if rain's close to you, and there's a possibility of it, because if it doesn't show rain right on top of you, it says no rain, right? And we still got rain last night, even though it kind of showed nothing. Again, today on this one, it shows really nothing happening, yet we're going to have a chance for some rain this evening, all right? So let's get right into the pictures. Let's look at the satellite picture, because I find it rather interesting. First off, the eastern two-thirds of the United States is pretty quiet. We've got a frontal boundary. This same kind of frontal boundary and same kind of flow has been right here, right through this area right here, is like a stationary frontal boundary, okay, with Indiana, probably up to Minnesota, Ohio maybe in here, and the front has been wavering in different spots. It just kind of moves a little south, and then it moves a little north, and then it moves a little south. Then you get a cold front that kind of extends down from a system that was there before. You have a developing very large system out here to the west that this will be our weather for Friday. This is our Friday maker weather here, but you could kind of take a warm front and push it all the way up into it and come back into the low pressure system here. If you are into the continuous frontal boundary theory, which I do kind of like, so a lot of times you can't tie things right up to other systems very easily. Like this cold front probably extends to something down here. It obviously extends to something up here. That's kind of, you could just run systems through all across the globe this way. That's what you would be seeing. Now for us locally though, look how quiet it is. It's very quiet. Let's go and look in a little closer. Let's go into a sub-regional shot. Get in real close to Lafayette right now. There you go. Look at that. Clouds moving away off to our south and southeast, and then we've got a little blob of a shower or a thunderstorm over there in Iowa, which we can't see much of. We can see, look at how dark, and then look at how the dark patch is already popping up. Look at this. This is just an indication of how warm it's going to get already today. The sun is barely up, and you're already seeing big jumps in temperature in Ohio. You're seeing a big jump of temperature right here in Illinois, and then a big jump in the temperature already early this morning there south of us, and we're just going to be in this mess here pretty quickly. Our temperature will start going up pretty quickly also as we go through that. Let's switch it over to visual real quick, just so we can take a look at it, and then we start to see some of the pictures. And you see just a couple scattered clouds out near the state line show up pretty easily on here. I see a big fog bank out here. Look at this. Looks like fog or very low stratus on the ground out to the west of us. This is Kansas City, right? Kansas City. St. Louis is here, so it's just gotten to the state line right there. So there's some fog out there, and then there's that big thunderstorm out here popping up. As you can see, the first shot or two is dark, and then the sun comes up, and we see things pretty easily. We see some stratus on Lake Michigan, some fog there too, and a few clouds over Michigan, it looks like. But for us, it's pretty quiet, just a couple little Q clouds here or there, just right in here. If you keep your eye focused right there, you'll see it. See that right in there? Lafayette is right here. Just to give you the heads up, Indianapolis right there, Chicago, Fort Wayne over here, and Lafayette's starting to grow just like Fort Wayne is, South Bend, Evansville, different places. I think Lafayette's going to be a pretty big town in the next 20 years or so. Matter of fact, the entire portions of Indianapolis are going to grow up into Chicago, would be my guess, right along the interstate over the next 50 years, definitely for sure. And there'll be, this is looking to be an artery and a hub of science. You'll see a lot of science going on, a lot of technology will be setting up all along the interstate because of its ease to get to airports and to be able to ship things out, chips, things like that. Technology will be a big deal all along the interstate. You can see them setting it up just about everywhere, except for the gap between Lafayette and say, south of Chicago, not really setting up yet. Lots of farmland out there, but there are, the wind turbines there too. But between Indianapolis and Lafayette, they're setting up all kinds of things, just to give you a heads up. I don't know why I switched over out of weather for that, but hey, there it is. Okay, let's take a quick look and just see if there's any changes and pop in the mosaic radar on top of this. There it is. So there's the showers. You can see the showers out here, right? And thunderstorms. And then there's that little pop thunderstorm there of a line. You can kind of see it's a line, and then it turns into some thunderstorms. Those might have some pretty good little bumps in it, but they don't look too bad. They're only 5 to 10 miles wide, but about, 100 miles long at least. There for those. Nothing in our area. We are high and dry for now. All right, so let's take a look at some of the cameras around the area. We love doing this, showing some of the local festivities out there. Look at that. There's the construction up at State Road 114 near Rensselaer. It does actually look pretty quiet up there today. Lots of sunshine as we expect. See the shadows on the ground pretty easily up there. And if you turn around, let's go back down to Wolcott. Oh, that one's pointed at the ground. That doesn't help us much. But we do see some dry pavement. We don't see much for water anywhere. We see the lake off to the north there. I've been in that location a couple times and know what it looks like. We move down towards Junction 231, and we look to the north back towards some of the wind turbines, looking pretty nice right here with the wind turbines and blue sky all above us, looking really nice here today. And most people just saw some sprinkles or a thunder bump here or there last night, but nothing real major for storms last night. They were just your average thunderstorm if you got one. There's some of that Q popping up as you look towards the south here on State Road 18. You can see a little bit of it here, a little bit of it right here. You can just kind of make out those right there. The rest of the sky looks pretty clear. We look nice. Traffic's pretty heavy today. It looks like a bit of people getting out and about. We get down to State Road 43, and everything looks good here. Looking back towards the west as it heads to the west and then turns to the north. I'd be nice if we could get somebody. I got to find somebody who runs these cameras and get them to point them up a little bit, right, all around the area so that I can use them and we can use them. Lots of traffic. See, here we go on State Road 25. Must have been an accident or something in here, and they were looking at it. But right now, looking back to the north, State Road 43 would be up here. No look at the sky, though. That doesn't help us. We want to see sky. There it is. Clear blue sky down at the State Road 26 exit on 65, looking back towards the north. Very nice there. As we look back all the way down to Dayton, there you go. Nice there. And also picking up a little bit of the Q clouds right there. You're just starting to see them just on the horizon in spots. So I would suspect we won't be perfectly blue all day. We'll have a little bit of patches of Q here and there, but generally speaking, the day looks pretty nice for us. And let's go all the way down to Fowler. Let's see what's going on, or Frankfort, excuse me. Didn't mean to cut you down there, the Pokes and Fowler or Frankfort, whichever way you want to look at it. A little bit of Q right there, just a couple little spots, and the traffic looks quieter down there as you look towards the south and down towards Indianapolis. So let's check in town. Any problems in town? Looking good up on the west side. There you go, looking nice. Back down to the River Road here, I think it is, the exit. Come on, pop for me. Well, there we go. We got the airport. All right, airport looks nice. That one's pointed up, but it's got a tower on top of it, so we got to worry about that. There we go, back towards Lafayette. I'm going to go back towards River Road here. There it is. And it's still shaky on River Road, but still looks pretty nice. Some guy on his motorcycle right now this morning. Very nice out there for him. Looking really good. And we have one last one. Way out by Fowler. We like to take a look at that and count. Oh, there we go. Traffic count today is a big 0. We've been averaging about 2 vehicles per day seen on this stretch of highway out near Fowler where the camera's at. But good news is I don't see any water in this little creek right here. We're looking good there. Nothing standing in the fields out here anywhere. Got wind turbines in the distance and no cars. So there we go. That took our average back down to like 1.5 cars per day, I think, with the 0 coming in there. All right, let's get through the model of what we're looking at. We see it's a beautiful day. I've been telling you I'm going to change my colors on this thing. Come on, go blue. All right, so the cold front is off the map, okay? The cold front's here. And then right in, somewhere around Ohio into Indiana, it becomes stationary. Then there's a low pressure system out here, and it's probably more of a warm front with a low out on the end of it, which is that little blob of stuff that's in Iowa right now, right? Matter of fact, this is a couple hours old, so let's bring it up to pace with us here. Here we are at 9 o'clock, so we got to get this to 13Z. There's 9 o'clock in the morning, and you can see there's just that little band of showers, right? It does show a little bit of stuff here or there, and the blob that's out in Iowa is a bit bigger than that. Well, maybe it's about that size. It's a little longer, I think. And then you start to see the fog in the stratus back down here, right? We saw that big blob that was on the satellite picture too pretty easily. The frontal boundary, right? The stationary front is kind of like right through here, and sometimes these little lows form along them, and they'll zip along, and as they do, they create a shower or two every once in a while. But the stationary front just, its effects out here are the warm sector trying to push it north. The effects here are the cold sector trying to push it south, and then in between somewhere, it's just stationary. It's kind of like the center of the pinwheel, which is probably right in here. And so everything over here is maybe trying to go this way. Everything over here is trying to go this way. And we're right, generally speaking, in the center. And it just sags south or pushes a little north. And it creates showers and some thunderstorms. And that's what we're expecting for tonight again. So here we are this morning at 9 o'clock. Then 10 o'clock, we don't see much. Remember, Lafayette's right here, okay? By 11, 12, 1, 2, we do see something pop up off the lake up to the north. And this has been kind of where things popped up last night. But it stays out to our northeast right now until later. Now, this is 20Z. This is 4 o'clock. I would like to see if there'll be a little tail on this, possibly. Maybe a shower or two is a possibility around 4 o'clock. Although right now it says it's going to go to Fort Wayne. So that's something to keep in mind. Watch for a little tail, maybe a shower around 4 o'clock this afternoon. Meanwhile, other than that, I don't even think that's a strong possibility at all. That's just a isolated chance for something to come off the tail of that. Because if I got a low here, I might see a shower or two string behind it like that as it moves along. And it's moving along the stationary boundary, right? It starts up in here. It's just moving along here. It's not doing anything special. It's barely moving. It's not moving the 60, 70 miles an hour that sometimes thunderstorms move. Just moving along pretty steady, right? And then look at, though, by 8 o'clock, it does start to stretch itself out. See this? And you can kind of draw it back here. You can see the nose of the isobars that they're putting in here, where you're kind of maybe warm frontal boundary. You're still stationary, but the stationary has sagged from up here to about here during this time frame. Or maybe it's just north of us, and the flow is trying to force some moisture on top of it. So by 8 o'clock tonight, we have another slight risk of a shower or a thunderstorm. There's 9 o'clock, and then there's 10 o'clock. And we'll get some more data on this in about 20 minutes. The new run will be fully out, or it'll definitely be past this in another 20 minutes. And so you see there's that chance. There it is, midnight. So late tonight, we're talking 8 o'clock to midnight, another chance for a shower or a thunderstorm hanging on. And then it just kind of dissipates out as the atmosphere becomes more stable. And then we start to see the influence of our Friday system out here. Here it is on Thursday, right? And we also remember there was a fog bank out here. We know that's probably being pressed in this area, and this could be some of the associated portions of the fog bank, but the fog is going to dissipate out a bit as it gets warmer tomorrow especially. But we'll keep an eye on that and see if anything happens with us with some of the fog possibly tomorrow. But right now it's pressed out into Missouri. Should fall apart once the sun hits it pretty good this afternoon. But look at this. Here we are. This is later on Thursday, right? Thursday, we look great. I don't see anything there, right? We still have the influence of an old boundary right in here, and then we're starting to get this thing building up out to the west, and it's kind of disorganized. There's a low here, there's a low back here, another one back up to the north. It's probably more just a cold front, and then we're trying to figure out if the warm front's gone way up here, which it could be. You could see a nose of it maybe here, but the stationary boundary's now moved over here a little bit, and we're starting to get into the warm sector. And so if we have no clouds tomorrow, kind of like today during the day, I expect us to get very warm in here tomorrow. So that 81 could be 84 or 85 tomorrow. Don't be surprised if we can keep the clouds off of us and the fog, that we're even warmer tomorrow than today. Either way, it looks like low 80s, 80 to 82 somewhere in there for our highs. And then here we push off to Thursday night, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, look at this system starting to build out to our west, and that's our Friday system. And look at where it is. This is at 2 in the morning on Friday morning, all right, setting up for us to come into our area sometime on Friday. And look at the flow in front. Again, still very warm, very humid, right? Starting to pick up some moisture from the Gulf of America to the south, but I still see like there's a low here, there's a low here, there's a low here. It's trying to be a frontal boundary of some type, but it's got these lows on it, and it's trying to be a cold front, but it's just not quite getting all the characteristics. I don't see a lot of cold air in here until you get way back here, right? But there is some colder temperatures there, and we're very warm out in front, right? And I'm looking at the ISO heights right through here, these little dash lines. Those are the lines I'm looking at for that. So out in front of it there, the thickness is very big. That's the ISO thicknesses, all right? The ISO heights, you could call them thickness lines. And the thicker the atmosphere, the warmer it can be. Well, back here, it becomes smaller. It becomes a little more smashed, so to speak, and it's colder back here. And we'll see that in a little bit when we go through the temperatures, all right? But right now, this is out through Friday morning and an approaching system that looks pretty darn solid for Friday for us, okay, at this point. So let's change it and go back to the temperatures real quick, because we know we have that slight chance for precipitation. But let's take a quick look at what the temperatures are going to do. And we go back to like today first. Here we are. We're at 58. We know we're going to warm up today. We can see you can see the wind barbs. See the wind barbs pointed at us, right at us. Boom. And we know it's going to warm up. The only thing keeping this area right here cooler right now is the fog. But that will evaporate pretty quickly, and then they'll start to warm up. You notice there's still a little left over. It's slower coming to the temperature, and we're already 71, and they're at 63 in western Missouri. That's because of the fog that is there, okay? So that is what we have going, at least on that front at the moment, all right? So at least as we go through the day today. This would be noon. It's already 71. All right, here we are popping out to the end of the day, and it shows us right around the pocket of 80s. And it's been showing this pocket kind of like this and nosing into Illinois and then into Indiana, but that's kind of where your pocket of 80s is going to be. And this is still down because of the cloud cover that's been there, and it's kept their temperature down and behind all day. So this makes me think right now the model says that fog's going to stay there most of the day right in this area. So, but we'll keep an eye on that, because look how strong the flow is starting to get out to the west. These isobars are very close to each other, and look at this temperature right there in South Dakota, 95 degrees right in front of the system as the system approaches us. So very, very warm temperatures. All these wind barbs are moving due north. The isobars are, remember, there's a deflection in the atmosphere usually. So the isobars are slightly about 15 degrees off of what the wind barbs are. Sometimes they're a little more, sometimes they're a little less, sometimes they're running right with it. But it gives us a good indication of what direction we're talking. And then for us, it's kind of out this way, right? And we still kind of see maybe a little influence of this leftover frontal boundary here still tonight, right? That's where we're getting our chances for our thunderstorms tonight. All right, so let's move this along, and then we go into tonight. Look, it barely scratches into the 60s for tomorrow, right? In the morning, overnight, 63, 60. Oh, there we go. We got a 58 out of that. So tomorrow morning, about 58 degrees, far above normal for this time of the year. Good 10 to 15 degrees above normal. And then we move along for the highs tomorrow. And there's that pocket of 80s opening up in Illinois already, right? We see it there. It's south of Chicago, and then it shows us definitely in the 80s, all right? And then, but look at where that pocket is. And this is where I think you might see an 85 number in here somewhere, right, for somebody. That's where you see that pretty easy. There's a big pocket of warmth to the south now. The clouds are starting to be dispersed, but you can kind of see where some of the clouds are with that system we were looking at earlier. And then as it approaches, we cool off overnight, and then the system starts to settle itself into right in here for overnight on Thursday night going into Friday morning. This is by 2 o'clock Friday morning when we see this, all right? So there you have it, at least on that front. I'm gonna go back in real close here, real quick, and we'll just highlight the temperatures again real fast here. And I'm gonna go up. There we go. Is there an 80 at all in there? There it is. It's 79. Shows the high. This is tonight at about six o'clock in the evening. Right. We're gonna max out around 5 or 6, and there's your temperature pocket of 80s right there, and we're right on it. The show's 79, but we're real close to everything. North of town says it's going to get 80, 82. Look at the nice pocket, goes all the way out to Illinois, and then the state line of Iowa there, crosses the Mississippi, and everybody else kind of stays a little bit cooler. So that's where that pocket is today. Now, as we get through tomorrow morning, we see we drop to about 58, and we don't see, everybody's pretty much in the 50s everywhere, aren't they? Except back up in Michigan, they're in the 40s. So not a bad morning tomorrow morning. I don't see the, let's take one quick look at visibility. Here it is. And it still shows us pretty good. Doesn't show any pocket of fog over us tomorrow morning like there is this morning out over Missouri. So right now, but look at this coming off the lake, it does. So it does show like zeros up here. Zeros is your visibility up here. So you're going to be talking about a bit of fog to the north, maybe a little bit of drop of fog, and the line is north up near Monticello, Rensselaer, that kind of area, for the potential for some fog tomorrow morning. Looks like Lafayette might be out of the mix of that. But then we warm up during the day again tomorrow, and there it is, somewhere around 5 o'clock again. Pocket of 80s right through Illinois. You can draw it right out like that, and we are in that pocket, goes all the way up into Wisconsin. I know my kind of ugly figure there, but you can see it, what I'm talking about, right? Even Chicago, 82, 83 tomorrow. Very warm temperatures. I think the Cubs are still in town tomorrow. No, they're off on Thursdays, it seems like, during this month. Okay, they won again last night. Ray. Great day there for the Cubbies. All right, so there's that pocket of 80s, pretty easily seen on the chart for tomorrow. And then the influence, you can see, is coming now due south. Look at that. Look at it. All the wind barbs are going south, right? And the isobars are just south-southeast, and they're coming up and bringing up all that heat towards us for the next couple of days. All right, so now I pop back out, right? And there's a reason I'm doing this. Got the side one, of course. There we go. That's the one we want. And then I'm going to go back to the rain, and I'm going to go back to today. Winter precipitation. Whoop. There we go, guys. All right, so here we are today. Right now, I'm going to go out to the end of this, and we'll stop where this system is out here, and I'm going to change it to the NAM nest, which is going to go out farther. And you notice it's got the system pretty much in the same place, right? But watch what happens. This is the Lafayette syndrome. Lafayette is right here. So we are focusing on this area for this system coming towards us. And what is it going to do? Just like the parting of the Red Sea, look at this. There's a little band of showers overnight, Friday night, about 4 or 5 in the morning, maybe pass through. And then like the parting of the Red Sea, it comes up to us and boom, look at that. You got showers up here. You got showers down here. This is 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday, and there's this big open gap in the middle. All right? So I'm interested to see. You can see the cold front back here, the drop in the cold front, and this out in front of it. And the timing is perfect, it seems like, all the time for Lafayette to get caught. And part of this is why we are in a drought, too. There's a big drought right in this area right here. Now, there's a drought in a lot of the United States, but Lafayette's been in a drought for like 3 or 4 years now. And this whole area has been, where it's been below normal for most of the rain, most of the year, right? And so it's been very consistent. And I have seen this, I don't know how many times, where it comes towards Lafayette and opens up, right? So I'm interested to see if the high resolution rapid refresh, which still won't go quite that far out, I think, on the new run, it might be close, is going to do the same thing that the NAM just did with it. You notice how it just spread it open, the parting of the Red Sea, so to speak, over Lafayette. And this happens time after time. That's why we laugh about there's a Lafayette bubble, is because of that right there. All right, so that's what we see, at least on that system. Man, as it comes closer. Let's see what the GFS does with it. We'll change the GFS as we go out to the long-range data, and it still shows showers there, but I can see that there's kind of, you can almost draw in a line like this and like this. and the time frame is close, but it's at least shows a bit of a chance for showers on Friday. We're going to see some rain on Friday. I just wonder how much. We'll see how as we get closer to it. And it kind of goes through us Friday night, and then here comes the effects of the storm on Saturday. Big old what? High pressure right over Lake Michigan on Saturday, which means some cooler temperatures, but also means good weather for us on Saturday, right? So Saturday looks pretty good right now, setting it up very nicely. Sunday, here we are getting into Sunday. Let's go back to Sunday morning. Looks really nice. Going off to church if you're heading to church. All day Sunday looks good. Then we see our first chance of some showers for our new system in the early morning hours. Excuse me, this is about 5 o'clock in the morning, Monday morning, and we see a big line of thunderstorms. And the good news on this is it's in the morning, right? So, but look at where you could set it up. I'm starting to get kind of a negative on this. Lafayette's right here, and the heaviest stuff is south, and the heaviest stuff is north, and in between is the lighter of the greens and the less intensity. It's same kind of pattern that we just saw, right? But there is a low pressure system in the north. We can drag a cold front behind it. This is way out in front of the system. Maybe it's the warm front. Maybe there's a warm front up in here. There's a trough up here. There's enough cold behind this pocket. They're going from 95 in South Dakota to snow 2 days later, right? Or 3 days later for a potential for snow to be in there. All right, so there that goes through, and then we have a chance all day Monday for rain. So that's a pretty good looking system there. That's a decent one. And then nice, we get another high. This one now settles into Missouri area on Tuesday. That'll bring in some cooler weather, and we can see a line right here. You can see the 540 line, that darker blue line that's solid. That's the indication usually of colder air north of it, right? Put cold up here, warm usually south of it, something like that. But the flow is still coming out of the north from there, hence it's pulling in the cold air around the high pressure system, which is here, which goes in what direction? Yes, it does. It goes in a clockwise formation like this. So when you're on this side of the high, you get winds coming from here. Just an easy way to think about it, all right? And the high kind of moves off but stays in control for a little bit on Tuesday. Wednesday, we got a little system that bumps to our north. We'll see what happens with that. And then we get into Thursday, and here's another high, right? And here's another high on Thursday, same place. It's right over in Missouri. And some showers maybe tried to run through the area late on Wednesday, I think it was. Let's take a look at this. It doesn't look like much, right? And it kind of forms, and it throws some showers a little bit farther south of us, but back in here. And so then there's another high ready to go ahead and take the other high's place as that system goes through pretty quickly, and it brings us more good weather next week, all right? So a short hop maybe on Wednesday. Then we start to see a pretty good system developing. I'm not sure. I think I wrote it down. When did I write it down? Did I write it down? I thought I wrote it down. We were going to watch a system for next week that was coming from the south, and we needed to keep an eye on it. I think it's this system right here, late Friday next week. And right now, the low stays here, down here to the south, all right? But it throws moisture like here all the way back up into here. Plus, it's drawing cold air in. You can see the 540 line right there, the 5,400 foot thickness, a meter thickness, right? Lafayette's right here. We're right there, right in that spot. So it shows moisture on us. This is Friday. So this is Thursday night into Friday, all right? Boom, boom, Friday morning. And then all of Friday, it shows moisture all around us. And look at that. That 540 line is all the way down here. I don't see snow on here. So the atmosphere, because it's coming from the south, is stacked a little warmer, even though at the surface, it'll be cold enough maybe potentially for some snow. That's a pretty cold line there. So let's keep an eye on Friday, next Friday, right? I'm writing it down. When we go back to the temperatures, May 1st, and see if there's potentially cold enough for some snow in there, right? That could be our last chance for some snow there in the middle. That's early May. That's May 1st, next Friday. We'll keep an eye on that bad boy. The timing during the day helps, I think, probably may keep us above. So there we go. Then we have another system that comes through on Sunday, May 3rd. You notice it's coming from the northwest now, so our pattern has changed to cooler weather, and I see the 540 line dropping below us, so it looks like we may get some 30s in there in early May, which is not out of the ordinary. There's a pretty good snowfall still coming to Michigan on May 5th, all right? So there's still potential there. We keep an eye on that system, and then there's just not much there. So one or two big systems next week possible, one or two. Nothing real, and a lot of splitting, the parting of the Red Seas around Lafayette when they get into our area. Now, I'll be here every day, and we'll keep an eye on it. We'll try to track each system and see what's going on, but that's kind of the way it's starting to set up now, right? Is how that is. So now let's switch over to the temperatures. All right. Where are we at? Oh, surface. There we go. The temperatures. Okay, so here we are on the first day. We know it's going to be warm the next couple of days. We start to see a little bit of the cold start to show its head on Friday out here to the west, right? And then it warms up nicely, and then here we are Saturday. We start to drop our temperatures, all right? Now we're back into the 40s for our lows Saturday morning, and our highs are only back into the mid-60s. To upper 60s on Saturday, probably 70 degrees. Look at our direction of our wind coming just like this, right? And if you draw it just like this and you keep going along with the lines of the wind like that, what's that do? Comes around there, so that tells me what? There's a high right here, and we talked about that a little bit ago on Saturday, right? For the system on Saturday, Friday into Saturday. So that's the system, and it leaves the high pressure system behind it. But it draws in some cooler weather for a day. So Sunday morning, still upper 40s to near 50. Not bad. That's about normal for this time of the year. Those were the only 2 days we thought we were going to be near normal. Each day was going to be above normal when we talked earlier. Here's a low pressure system down here we're keeping an eye on. This is still Sunday, right? That one that we've been talking about. And then as we go through the day, we start to see the temperatures changing. We see Monday a little warmer on Monday right there, but we can see that there's a system right here, and then I see some pockets of temperature difference right here, which means clouds and maybe rain. And another system, remember where we were looking at thunderstorms to the north and thunderstorms to the south and splitting right over Lafayette. We'll have to see if that really happens, but we see the pocket of cold on this coming in behind it pretty easily right there. All right. So here we go. We go out a little farther. Bam, bam, bam. Temperatures pretty cool next week, comparatively speaking to this week. We'll see if that happens. But we're back into the 40s on Tuesday morning, which when we pop up into the low 60s by the daytime, we're still going to hit the 60s, it looks like, almost every day on here, at least 60 degrees or warmer. So that would be closer to normal for this time of the year, 60. And then there you are, 60, 65, maybe again on Thursday next week. Here's another high coming in. Remember, we talked about that. And we're looking at Friday. What's going to happen on Friday? Oh, we were looking for how cold it was going to get on Friday, right? There it is Friday morning showing us at 43. Okay, so 43, but we can see the cold right through here, right? So the 30s are not that far away. Potential is there, only getting to like 56 or 57 on Friday. There's Friday morning, and it drops only into the mid-40s. But look at, we stay in the 40s next Friday, 40s to upper 50s, or lower 50s it looks like. And then there's the cold night next Saturday, where we're at 37, and a pocket of snow is to the north up in here, is where they showed the potential for flurries and light snow, and they're back into the 30s in Michigan. So even there. And then we pop back up until like 60, 65 on Saturday. So it rebounds pretty easily. And then the cold is pretty much gone. There we're back into the 40s for lows on Sunday, May 3rd. And a lot of these temperatures, there's a chilly day Monday after another little system bumps through the region. And here we are with a 37 that day too. So these days, because they're so far out, I would focus on the potential of maybe getting all the way to 32 in these, maybe some system change here. Plus, it's far enough out, there's going to be modifications. Could be bigger storms, could be weaker storms, could be a different change of flow. This could be Tuesday morning instead of Monday morning. Because it's so far out, there'll be a lot of changes. But the thought process is cooler weather, right? All the way down through here by the time we get to Monday, May 4th. All right. So that first week of May, that first solid week of May with dates looks a little chillier on here. And these temperatures are below normal. We're seeing highs now of 40, 45 on Tuesday. Let's see if it gets into the 50s. It does not. It shows cold weather on us. So there we are, Tuesday morning cold, Wednesday. Now we're getting pushing into Tuesday night. There we go. 42, 41, 40, back down to near 30s and Wednesday morning, and then we rebound only back to 45 or 50. So, and then there's a cold pocket that tries to stretch in on May 7th. See this? Now all of our warm and cold is this direction, right? Warmth is over here, cold is over here. And this is just warm. It's not hot at all. And this isn't overly like freezing cold, but it's cold compared to the norm back out there. So instead of us being kind of where we're at now, which is we generally speaking, the hot is over here, right? And the cooler air has been up here the last week or so. We're going to change to the pattern being this way, and the cooler air here and the warmer air over here, and not real hot by the early May. So it doesn't look like it's going to be a warm early May at this point as we look at those charts right there. And then precipitation-wise, I wanted to kind of hit that too. Let's see if I can find that surface. Well, there we go. Precipitation, total precipitation accumulations over the entire time frame. Okay, so this model right now is showing us that we are only going to get 1 inch of rain all the way out through May 8th. There's a reason they talk about April showers and May flowers and that kind of thing, right? Because you're supposed to get some rain. But look at the entire area. Look at this. You can go all the way up here. You can draw a line kind of like this. Look at that. No rain. Less than an inch here from Indianapolis to Fort Wayne, right? And up to the state line, less than an inch. Only 1.19 over that entire time frame, 2 weeks. That's below normal for sure. There is some good news in this, though. That would be good for them to get their plants and get them out to the field, and then possibly we get into a mode where we get a lot of rain in May and everything grows really good. So we'll see what happens with this. But a very long extended dry period right there for us, generally speaking. And we come back to the early portions of it, and you can see, matter of fact, look at that. A lot of our early rain, a lot of the rain is early. There's almost a quarter of an inch right there. That's just today and tomorrow, right? Potential. Then the next system comes through on Friday into Saturday, really only drops about a half an inch on us because it splits, right? It splits around us. So there's a little bit there. Then we go on a few more days, and then here comes the next system. We start to get some rain on Monday into Tuesday this coming week. And there's where we get our heaviest rains. And we go up, we get about, that was a half an inch at least right there, it looks like. Half an inch to 3/4, right? So that's what we see on that one for that potential right in there. That's not a lot of rain. Not a lot of rain at all for us in that time frame. All right? And then obviously at 1.06, we only go up to 1.19 total for Lafayette during that time frame, and that big pocket of green right here where there's even less than that. Like Indianapolis, they're saying on the north side of Indianapolis in that area, only less than 0.7 of an inch during a 3-week period. That's far below normal for this time of the year. You can see where the wet stuff is out in northern Missouri, northern Kansas, and then back up into Wisconsin. They seem to catch the timing on the fronts each time where they get some good heavy showers and thunderstorms. But even they're only getting like 3.5 inches, and I wouldn't be surprised over a 3-week period this time of the year. That's at least normal, maybe slightly above normal for them. And this, we should be in the 2 to 3 inch range, I would think, this time of the year. Rough estimates, if my mind remembers, about averages for this time of the year. For 3 weeks in late April, early May, one of the wettest times of the year, we're just not seeing a ton of moisture during that time frame. All right, so we've been talking about the showers and thunderstorms splitting over us. What's the chances, really, of us getting a thunderstorm like today? Here we go. We're in the pocket, right? We're in the pocket of just standard thunderstorms is all it is. And it looks like there's an area where it could be a little more severe, but it's not in Lafayette. So this is, why we have just a chance for a thunderstorm during the day today, despite the model not showing a ton of stuff over us. And we're going to go back and look at the new one here. And then we see everything setting up out to the west, right? So we see that. And then we go on to the next day. Tomorrow, oh, that's right. This one's the one I cannot do it with the this on. All right, here we go. Then we go to tomorrow. Day 2 looks like this, and look at that big old boy setting up out to the west. There you go, from Kansas all the way up into southern Minnesota. Chances for showers and thunderstorms, and they are at a slight risk for severe weather there. You go out to day 3, and it sets up and misses us. Look at that. The stuff that splits off and goes to the north is heavier rain, splits right over Indiana right there and where Lafayette is, and then the severe weather is setting up to the south for that day. All right, so no severe weather, at least on that front for us either. All right. So not a lot there on that to tell you about that other than we don't have a big chance. We look at the radar right now and you can see there's nothing out there, at least in the Lafayette area, Lafayette being here. Beautiful clear skies, big thunderstorms out here to the northwest in western Iowa. And there's going to be potential for some showers popping up in central Illinois, Indiana, all the way over to central Ohio. And it looks like we'll just be somewhere near it and have a chance maybe 4 o'clock today, there's a chance for some thunderstorms, and then it pops up, maybe gets a little better by this evening around 8, 9, 10 o'clock. Same thing as last night. You'll see some stuff, and you'll go, oh, there it is, and then you'll get a thunderstorm or two out of it, the possibility. Have you noticed the little gnat going around here? He's bugging me. That's why I'm kind of swiping at the sky. I'm not getting sick yet. So there it is, at least on that front of where that is. Now let's go back to the model real quick. I want to see the new run of the HRRR, right? The new run of the HRRR says this, and what does it say? Now we've got 89% of the HRRR in, so let's go to where it's showing precipitation for this evening, right? We want to see what it's saying. So it's showing that we have the potential right now. Right now it's kind of got the stationary front right up in here. All right, so right up in this area is where you're seeing that. Lafayette, again, is right about here, and you can see where the showers are to the south and to our southeast, and that band up into Iowa right now. As we go through the day, we seem like we're okay, right? We're thinking to ourselves, here we are, 2 o'clock, everything's good. And around 3, 4 o'clock, there you go, some showers start to pop up over near Fort Wayne. Do they get near us? Right now, no chance. I'm saying right there, maybe a slight risk for us because it has a tendency just to pop out. So that's just a very, very slight risk at 4 o'clock. Generally speaking, maybe later this evening on the tail end of this, as you nose it out here, watch to see if we get anything. That's 8 o'clock this evening, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So it's not looking as bad. Now, it wasn't bad at all, really, but it shows a couple thunderstorms or a shower or two popping up north of Lafayette around 8, 9, 10 o'clock tonight. And that's it, it's gone. We don't see much, right? And then we see the next system starting to come in from the west. There it is, starting to build. This is now Thursday morning. Now we are at noon at Thursday on this, and we're starting to see the lineup of it here. And then it starts to build and build and build, and now we're moving out into Thursday evening. This is 6 o'clock Thursday evening, and we start to see the showers and thunderstorms forming out there really well. And then as we get towards Friday morning, it's still that big band there, and then we're going to get like 6, 7 more hours here, 8 maybe out of it. There we go. 44 is where we are at this point. Still, I see less intensity in here. I see more intensity with just heavier showers up here. Down here is where your heavier thunderstorm potential is. This is 4 o'clock in the morning, Friday morning, right? And this is the split spot where it wants to split. Now, this is how the model shows it as of right now. Tomorrow, because this is Friday morning, we'll have a really good indication if that bad boy is going to split and go over Lafayette, or if some of these thunderstorms will be strong enough during the afternoon on Friday to get to us. Remember, the NAMNES puts them back here at this time frame. Actually has the system slower on Friday than the HRRR is starting to show it. And then it brings just a little band of showers right in here, Friday morning potential, but these are very hit and miss. And then the system comes through and boom, just splits apart Friday afternoon. So the HRRR will show me that a little bit later today as it goes out 48 hours, probably 6 hours from now. The new run at 6Z or we just hit the 12Z, so it'll be the 18Z later, about 6 hours from now. I'll probably take a look at it this evening and take a look at it, see what it looks like, so I can update you tomorrow morning of what that is definitely looking like on the front there. So it's such a thing that happens so often in our weather. And I noticed it when I was at the TV station 25 years ago, too. So this is not like this is out of the ordinary. I used to think the Tornado Alley was like this and did that. Now they've shifted looked at it and it's down more like over here, right? And we're kind of out of tornado alley, but we're still at the tip of it. And I tend to think thunderstorms do the same thing. And maybe it's this open gap that's done that, that's changed the possibilities, because our thunderstorm activity has been on the low side for a decade now or more. And in reality, go back and look at the amount of tornadoes that we've seen over the last decade and then compare it to 3 decades ago, and we have far less tornadoes. But they'll tell you climate change hurts us. But we have seen less tornadoes. Now, maybe there's some outlier years here or there, but generally speaking, like a 10-year average, we're below what they consider to be the average tornadoes for the entire country. So that's something to keep in mind there. Not all climate change is bad, right? Climate change, if it gets warmer north, means you can plant farther more to the north, right? Less people die from heat than die from cold. That's another thing that's a positive, right? So there's some positives in this climate change kind of thing, if you believe in that really well, that are helpful also, not just hurtful. Not the rising seas, which still haven't rose, right? Even though we should all be flooded, as what was the vice president's name? Al Gore. Oh, we should be flooded by now, right? Florida should be gone. It's not, right? And that was him crowing in 1999 and 2000 how the world was going to end, right? I think it may have cost him the presidency because he looked a little kooky about it. But then he came out afterwards and got even kookier about it. So, and Al Gore pops up every once in a while right now from his mansion in Tennessee, and he just complains about climate change and then goes back to his house for a while, makes a little money and goes back. I guess that's how he works it. Must be nice, right? For the rest of us, we're like, wow, get paid to do that. That would be nice. I wouldn't mind that at all. All right, we're still here, and let's talk Lafayette. Let's go back and look at the temperature real quick. I know that you can't see this at this point. 66 degrees right now is what it says on here. Winds out of the west-southwest at 12 miles an hour. A great wind to warm us up today. 81 today, 81 tomorrow. I might bump this to 83 if we get a spot, but I think the model's been pretty close lately, so let's stick close to the 81 number on both today and tomorrow. I think tomorrow might even have a better chance to maybe get to 83 tomorrow. But still warm. Look at this. Our average high this time of the year should be 66 degrees. 66 degrees, and here we are in the low 80s. So we are 15 degrees above normal. A couple temperatures Saturday morning and Sunday morning and Monday morning look to be about normal for the latter portions of April, as we should be somewhere like 45 to 46. So Saturday there, end of April, and maybe Monday we'll call it there, the 50 degrees. The highs are still above normal here because by the end of the month, we're still, the average high is only 68, and here we are showing 70s even through Friday, Saturday, Sunday into Monday there. So temperatures are like that. 66 over at Kokomo right now, 65 in Joliet. Fort Wayne is 67. Muncie still a little chilly, 63, and Danville 66. So everybody's starting to warm up already this morning, and we're seeing that. Let's take a look at some of the long range of what we saw the last week or so. And the first thing I notice, and I tell you about every time, is look at the ups and downs here. Look at these ups and downs. The red is your high for the day on that day, right? And the blue is your low for the high on that day. For the blue is the low for that day. So each day has two. And when you go to that day, like here it is, March 6th, the high was 77 degrees, and the average's daily high was 46 then. So we were 31 degrees above normal on March 6th. And the daily low was 54, and the average daily low was 28 on that day. So we were almost 30 degrees above there also. So what you see on this chart is the lower dashed lines right here are your average lows. The higher dashed lines are your average highs. You can see how it goes. It's going up. We're going from March into April into May, right? But what we see in March and April is all this up and down, right? March, April, and into May is your transition season into your hot season, right? So you have your cold season during the months of December, January, February. We see lots of cold here, right? And then we see the transition months where we see lots of up and down. And then we get into the summer months, which you look at June, July, August last year, and it's more steady. The temperatures are warmer and consistently warmer. You don't see quite as much up and down, all right? What I see right now for us is an average from June of last year into May of last year, right, is that we have been below normal, actually, temperature-wise. Look at the summer. A lot of the temperatures at or below normal. You see that all the way into September, right? Then October was a little warmer. Then we get some more ups and downs as we transition. Then we had a really chilly December, right? Look how cold it was there. A little bit offsetting. January was a little warmer, but it had some cold. And then a very cold February too, right? So a lot of these temperatures, if you average it out, are slightly below normal in most cases. And I would say the lows are about normal, but the highs are slightly below normal from March on, right? And then we have our typical stuff here in March and April. This is very typical to see these temperatures up and down. So here you have it. One day right here it is. It's 83 degrees on March 26th, and on March 27th the high was 42. So you see how that happens? Just the next day we dropped high temperatures from 83 to 42. We had a 40-degree drop in our high temperature for the day each day. That's how spring is, right? And you guys, if you've been around a while, you know that's how it works. And that's what we have been seeing on that front. So everything is about where it should be. Now, this particular chart shows us for a high of around 81 today with the historical high of 65. And our normal low is 44, but we were at 56 this morning, all right? So this also goes out and shows what the model is showing. The model shows a warm for a day or two and then starts to drop off for a little while. Then it has another up and then another little down in May. And then there's one warm day in May, but most of these temperatures, there's that cold period in there where we're only in the 60s. And you say to yourself, only the 60s, but we're talking average highs are 64 or by 72 by now, by the middle of May here. This is May 14th. Says the average historical day high is 72, but we're only going to be like 64 that day. So there's some cold. So other than 1 or 2 days in here, as you get into May, from May 1st on, it looks like temperatures are below normal again after we've been in a pretty good extended period of temperatures above normal, and we've got some more of that for a couple days. Then it turns a little bit chillier in May on averages. And you can find that this is on the MSN site. You just type in Lafayette weather on MSN. It'll bring up the bug. It'll show you the days. You can go down and look at the historical chart here. I like this a lot. It's a good reference to go back and tell people what happened at a period back at a certain time. So that's why I like this one a lot. All right. But at the top of it, it shows the temperature right now, which is still 66, and gives you temperatures of what the model is showing. Let's go back and see if the HER is brought in any more hours on this time frame. It does. It gets a little closer. So here we were. I think we were right about this spot, and it's brought in all 4 hours now. And as it gets closer, I do see a line of showers there, at least in front of the system. Friday morning now, 8 o'clock, right, is right there. That's Friday morning, 8 o'clock. But look at this. If you draw in your lines here, and I'm going to draw them in, right there is your biggest pocket of moisture, right? And then as you get intensities, you can see that it's a little more intense up here, and then the gap is right there, and that's where Lafayette is, right there. So it's not quite as intense as the NAM Nest, and let's see if NAM Nest can lay right on top of that for the same time period. And the NAM Nest has it slower, right? It has it back here by that time frame, where the HER has it almost on top of us by 12Z, which is 8 o'clock Friday morning, all right? And with the closer in stuff, I kind of like the HER a little bit, where the NAM Nest has it back here about that time frame. But that they'll both come online tomorrow and probably be very close to each other. So it looks like one has potential for Friday afternoon, the other one has Friday morning for rain coming through us, but both kind of split the intensity right through there. It's a little less intense as it is down here, obviously, and that it is from here up north. So just something to keep in mind through that time period of what we may see. All right, so that's it. The hour, man, the hour. I talked an hour on weather. Are you guys tired of this yet? Let me know. Get in the comments. Say, hey, no, we love it. I dropped my phone. I can't look at it for a while. I don't know where it went to. So, but I'll try to talk to you guys in the next chance I can get. Of course, I'll be on air tomorrow. I don't think I have any doctor's appointments in the way. Today is our anniversary, Susie and I. As I say, the beautiful blue-eyed blonde that I love so much. 37 years today, and we're going out for dinner this afternoon into the evening hours. So I love to see you. I also have some anniversary buddies, some friends of ours that live in Ohio. Happy anniversary to them. And to the rest of you guys, have blessings on you today. Have a blessed day today through the rest of the week. May the weather not rain on your parade. All right, that's it for now. We'll talk to you next time.